Hello and welcome to Snatch Plays Dear Esther. Dear Esther is what I consider to be the beginning of the walking sim sort of genre, I guess. And I have a love-hate relationship with walking sims. I've played some that have been quite good, or have had moments of being good. But then I've played some that have just been sort of eh. The best one I've played would probably be Beginner's Guide, or the Stanley Parable, or what was the one by Crows. Dr. Lengskov's something tiger and a cursed gem or something. That was quite fun as well. So they can be done well, sort of, but I wouldn't consider them games. They're more interactive experiences. So, me considering this is probably the beginning. It isn't. There have been walking sims in the past. Not many, but there have been. But when this game came out, this was a very debated issue in the gaming community. For a little bit. Wasn't a while, and in ways it's still being debated upon. So, I want to have a go at it, because I haven't played this. I have just heard quite things about it. And I just consider this, in my personal opinion, the beginning of the walking sim sort of genre. So let's get started, and it's going to be edited, so you won't have to watch I think it's about an hour or 2 hour long, sort of just me walking and listening to audio, I think. And by the end, after the video, I will explain my thoughts. So if you want to stay with me, or skip to the end, I'll see you then. Nope, I didn't think the A button was working there. Alright. Let's look at the options. Audio. We have 4 options. We've got large captions, which I will enable because I am blind. I will enable closed captions, yeah. 2 speakers will turn down the music a bit, so you can hear my lovely, lovely voice. Video settings. We've got 3 options. Brightness, field of view, and the crosshair. Field of view doesn't bother me, so we'll just go max so I can see everything. Crosshair, won't ever need it, but we'll enable it so someone can have something to look at. Controller. Oh, I do not like that sensitivity at all. I haven't played it, but I already know that's too slow. Look type, normal, vibrations enabled. Alright. Alright, let's begin Dear Esther. Properly this time. Oh, there's a director's commentary. I may also look through that as well, depending on how long the game is. That way I can tell you my thoughts on the creative process as well. But we'll see. I feel like I'm going to be talking a lot. I have no drink. I guess there's Pepsi in the fridge or something. Not sponsored by Pepsi, I just have Pepsi.
Dear Esther, I've lost track of how long I've been here, and how many visits I have made overall. Certainly the landmarks are now so familiar to me that I have to remind myself to actually see the forms and shapes in front of me. I could stumble blind across these rocks, the edges of these precipices, without fear of missing my step and plummeting down to sea. Besides, I've always considered that if one is to fall, it is critical to keep one's eyes firmly open.
Alright. Commentary's alright. Ooh. Got zoom in eyes. Alright, actually that field of view is actually making me quite ill. Well, turn that back a bit. When I say a bit, I mean a lot. And I may have also been wrong about the sensitivity. So that's good old me for being bang on the money there. Alright, excellent, that's much better. I feel less ill now. So a bit of a shitty place to live. Fair. This blue paint or goo everywhere? Oh, left trigger also zoomed in the eyes. Something right over there. Game's at 60 frames, it appears. That's quite nice, I guess. Wow. I don't think a game has made me this bored this quickly, ever.
Donnelly reported the legend of the hermit, a holy man who sought solitude in its most pure form. Allegedly, he rode here from the mainland in a boat without a bottom, so all the creatures of the sea could rise at night to converse with him. How disappointing to be chatter. Perhaps now, when all that haunts the ocean is the rubbish dumped from the tankers, he'd find more peace. They say he threw his arms wide in a valley on the south side, and the cliff opened up to provide him shelter. They say he died of fever 116 years later. The shepherds left gifts for him at the mouth of the cave, but Donnelly records they never claimed to have seen him. I have visited the cave and I have left my gifts, but like them, I appear to be an unworthy subject of his solitude. There was once talk of a wind farm out here, away from the rage and the intolerance of the masses. The sea, they said, is too rough for the turbines to stand. They clearly never came here to experience the becalming for themselves. Personally, I would have supported it. Turbines would be a fitting contemporary refuge for a hermit. The revolution and the permanence. Dear Esther, I found myself to be as featureless as this ocean, as shallow and unoccupied as this bay, a listless wreck without identification. My rocks are these bones, and a careful fence to keep the precipice at bay. Shot through me caves, my forehead a mount. This aerial will transmit into me so. All overexposed, the nervous system, where Donnelly's boots and yours and mine still trample. I will carry a torch for you. I will leave it at the foot of my headstone. You will need it for the tunnels that carry me under. reading Donnelly by the weak afternoon sunlight. He landed on the south side of the island, followed the path to the bay and climbed the mount. He did not find the caves, and he did not chart the north side. I think this is why his understanding of the island is flawed, incomplete. He stood on the mount and only wondered momentarily how to descend. But then, he didn't have my reasons. When someone had died or was dying, or was so ill they gave up what little hope they could sacrifice, they cut parallel lines into the cliff, exposing the white chalk beneath. You could see them from the mainland or the fishing boats, and know to send aid or impose a cordon of protection, and wait a generation until whatever pestilence stalked the cliff paths died along with its hosts. My lines are just for this: to keep any would-be rescuers at bay. The infection is not simply of the flesh. I quote directly, "A motley lot with little to recommend them. I have now spent 3 days in their company. That is, I fear, enough for any man not born amongst them. Despite their tedious inclination to quote scripture, they seem to me the most God-forsaken of all the inhabitants of the Outer Isles. Indeed, in this case, the very gravity of that term, forsaken by God, seems to find its very apex. It appears to me that Donnelly, too, found those who wander this shoreline to be adrift from any chance of redemption. Did he include himself in that, I wonder? Dear Esther, I met Paul. I made my own little pilgrimage. My Damascus, a small semi-detached on the outskirts of Wolverhampton. We drank coffee in his kitchen and tried to connect to one another. Although he knew I hadn't come in search of an apology, reason or retribution, he still spiraled in panic, thrown high and lucid by his own dented bonnet. Responsibility had made him old. Like us, he'd already passed beyond any conceivable boundary of life. I threw my arms wide and the cliff opened out before me, making this rough home. I transferred my belongings from the bothy on the mount and tried to live here instead. It was cold at night and the sea lapped at the entrance at high tide. To climb the peak, I must first venture even deeper into the veins of the island, where the signals are blocked altogether. Only then will I understand them, when I stand on the summit and they flow into me, uncorrupted.